So we're all pretty familiar with AI, right? It's in our phones, our smart speakers, our streaming recommendations. But what if I told you that what we've seen so far is just the beginning? AI is taking a massive leap, evolving from a simple tool into something more like an autonomous partner. And believe me, this changes everything.
And this quote just nails it. We're moving away from AI that just passively waits for our commands to an AI that can actually take initiative. We're talking about systems that can understand a goal, create a plan, and then go out and get it done. It's a completely different way of thinking about and working with technology.
So here's how we're going to break it all down. We'll start with that core idea of a tool versus a teammate. Then we'll define the two main types of AI in this story. We'll put them head to head to see the key differences, check out some real-world examples, and then we'll talk about why the shift to autonomy is such a big deal and what's on the horizon.
Okay, so for the longest time, we've seen AI as this incredibly powerful tool. You give it an order, analyze this spreadsheet, translate this sentence, and it executes. Super useful, but it's always been reactive. It waits for you. Well, that whole idea is getting flipped on its head. The new way of thinking positions AI as a teammate, a proactive collaborator that actually anticipates what you need and works with you to hit your goals. All right, to really get what's happening here, we need to get our definitions straight. Let's clearly lay out the two key players in this evolution: the familiar traditional AI and the new kid on the block, agentic AI. First up, traditional AI. You might also hear it called narrow AI or rule-based AI. The best way to think about it is as a specialist. It's designed to do a very specific set of tasks, and it does them incredibly well. It follows a strict set of pre-programmed rules. It's powerful, for sure, but it can't really think outside of that box it's been put in. And then there's agentic AI. This is the real game changer. These are autonomous systems. The big difference? You're not giving it step-by-step instructions. You're giving it a high-level goal. From there, it uses things like reinforcement learning to look at its environment, make its own decisions, and take a whole series of actions to get the job done, all while learning and getting smarter along the way. So how do these two really stack up? Let's put them side by side, because when you do, the contrast is crystal clear. This isn't just a minor upgrade, like getting a slightly faster phone. We're talking about a fundamental difference in what these systems are and what they can do. So from a bird's eye view, it looks like this. Traditional AI is reactive. It follows rules, and it's pretty static. If something new comes up, a human has to step in and update it. Agentic AI is the total opposite. It's proactive, it's driven by goals, not just rules, and it's constantly adapting to new information on the fly. Now this is where we really get into the nitty-gritty. Let's look at autonomy. Traditional AI is on a leash. It needs human input. An agent, though, it operates independently. When it comes to planning, a traditional AI is a one-trick pony. It does one predefined task. An agent can actually map out complex, multi-step strategies. And the biggest one, learning. Traditional AI stays the same until a person manually updates it. Agentic AI is a continuous learner, constantly improving based on real-time feedback. Okay, that's the theory, but what does this actually look like out in the real world? This is where you can really see the massive gap between just following an instruction and actually making a decision. We are surrounded by traditional AI. Your spam filter isn't thinking, it's just following a bunch of rules about what a spammy email looks like. A credit score system applies a rigid formula to your finances. The product recommendations on a shopping site, it's all based on simple if-then logic. They're reliable because they do exactly what they're told. No more, no less. But then you look at agentic AI, and it's a whole different ballgame. In an Amazon warehouse, an AI agent isn't just following a line on the floor. It's making real-time decisions to find the most efficient route, avoid a collision with another robot, and optimize the entire flow of inventory. A self-driving car is constantly making judgments about the world around it to achieve its goal of getting you somewhere safely. It isn't just following rules, it's navigating a complex, unpredictable reality. So what's the big deal here? Why is this shift from a programmed tool to an autonomous agent so incredibly important? Well, it's about unlocking a level of innovation and efficiency that was basically science fiction until now. What this all comes down to is a fundamental change in our relationship with technology. When AI can act as a proactive partner, it can start to tackle these really complex, long-term problems that were just way too messy to automate before. And that frees us up to focus on what we humans do best: strategy, creativity, and big-picture thinking. And listen, this isn't some far-off concept. The market is moving, and it's moving fast.
Projections show the agentic AI market is set to grow at a rate of over 28% every single year through 2030. That is absolutely explosive growth. It tells you that businesses are racing to adopt this stuff to build smarter systems, create better customer experiences, and honestly, to invent entirely new ways of doing business.
Now, as incredible as all this sounds, and it is incredible, we have to remember we're still at the very beginning of this journey. The road ahead is packed with amazing potential, but also some pretty significant challenges we need to think about very carefully.
And that brings us to the really big question, right? When we start delegating actual decision-making authority to our tools, what does that world look like? It opens up so many amazing possibilities, but it also forces us to get serious about some tough questions around control, trust, and who's ultimately responsible.
You know, the future probably isn't an either-or scenario. The most likely path forward is a hybrid AI. Just imagine a system that uses super precise, rule-based AIs for specific, critical tasks, but has an agentic AI acting as the conductor of the orchestra, coordinating everything, learning from the outcomes, and adjusting the grand strategy. You get the best of both worlds, rock-solid precision, guided by flexible, adaptive intelligence. But let's be real, this level of autonomy comes with some serious hurdles. As we hand over more control, we have to answer some critical questions. How do we make sure an AI's goals are truly aligned with our human values? When an autonomous system makes a costly mistake, who's accountable? And how do we build these things so there's always a way for a human to step in and hit the brakes? These aren't just philosophical debates anymore, they're urgent engineering and ethical problems we have to solve.
This insight was brought to you by VoiceSonic. To learn more about getting your own AI employee, you can check them out at voicesonic.com.